But what you can do is set boundaries in place that prevent you from acting on that. Oh my goodness! Oh my! Yeah, like damn.
Actually, that's a good point. So I'm torn now. I'm torn. I just argue myself.
You got yourself into a conundrum, man. All right, next question. Zap, have you ever used a dating app before?
Yes, I have.
Oh my God. Okay. How was that?
If I saw someone I really liked, I used to be like, so what are you doing this weekend? Thing. I had to think the whole thing.
Okay, so now we're approaching the next section of the show. This part is called open mic. It is very special. It is for you guys. All right. Anything that you feel like you want to talk about, air out, dump out, you have the floor.
Can guys just be friends with girls and vice versa? This is something I've been struggling or wondering and pondering. Love your guys' thoughts on this.
So like just friends, like we're friends, right? So men and women are friends. Like they should, like that should be something. Like having platonic relationships, it should be something that's okay. But I think that there's like a point where like either the man or the woman, like guy and a girl, like in that platonic relationship, like gets feelings, right? Like it happens. Like it's kind of bound to happen. Mm-hmm. I think it happens more so with guys than girls, though. Mm-hmm. I think, but
like guys will like catching feelings for a girl.
Yeah, like you always hear about like, oh, you know, like but he's in the friend zone or this, that, and the third, or like the guy's waiting for his opportunity. Like this girl's like talking like this his bestie, you know, is talking to this dude and he's sharing like shit, but he's just waiting, you know, for his opportunity. And I feel like in those situations, it's like it shouldn't be like that. Right. I feel like in most of those situations that the man, like if you're you know, we got a girl or a friend, then in most cases, and like they've been friends for a while, then at that point it's like, okay, we're platonic. We can't like really break up this friendship. Actually, oh no, I gotta switch. I just thought about it. Cause like let's say you got a childhood friend, yeah, like y'all grew up together, like you'll know everything about each other, and then like if you think that you want to date your best friend, or like you want to marry your best friend, then that has to happen. Yeah. That has to happen. Okay, so actually that's a good point. So I'm torn now. I'm torn. I just argue myself.
You got yourself into a conundrum, bro.
Damn.
That just happened live.
Funny.
That is so funny.
Oh.
Nah, that's a good point, dude. Because I mean, here's what I think about it, right? Like that, like, have you ever seen that 34 questions list, like from GQ? I can't remember. Like they ask you 34 questions,
to fall in love.
Like to fall in love, right?
That's so good.
And so, like, you know, when you ask, like, basically how it works is like each person asks each other these 34 questions, and they answer it and sit down together, and by the end, you're guaranteed to like fall in love with each other. And the fact that it's actually worked on some people, for me, just makes me think that there's a certain element of knowledge and experience and like connecting on a certain line of thought that actually warrants or triggers emotional response. And so, like, you know, like that's why it's also important to me, or like at least I think there's a lot of people to have this like same line of thought, is like you shouldn't there's certain boundaries you need to set with your friends, especially of the opposite sex or a person that you're attracted to, because you know, I don't believe in like my girl like going to, you know, go and have dinner with a guy like one-on-one, like, you know, the whole night. Like, I mean, come on. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, there's just, for me, I just don't think that's necessary. I think that can totally be done in a different avenue. And that's because of the fact that, look, I'm not saying this happened to me, but I do think it's human nature to grow emotional connection to people that you spend a lot of time with, especially one-on-one and learning about. And that's why you need to commit to someone, right? And spend time with them and grow your relationship with that person. So you grow your relationship with that person. Your brain is dynamic, it can change. It's like time's also dangerous too, right? And you got to spend your time appropriately and properly with your spouse, because time can heal all, but it can also destroy it. So yeah, those bars. Jesus.
Yeah.
That'll be
my opinion. My opinion is like a straight man, woman can be
like friends, but not close friends, and it not be something more or turn into something more for at least one of the parties. And I I wholeheartedly agree with you on that. Like, I'm never gonna be someone who's like, oh, you can't be you can't be friends with somebody of the opposite sex, but set boundaries.
For sure.
You guys should not be hanging out one-on-one, like having a little movie night in your apartment.
Oh yeah, come on.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Yeah.
Come on. Like, if it's like a group setting, okay, fine. But like, why are you guys hanging out one-on-one? And so that's kind of like back to my point of like close friends. So my close girlfriend and I, right? Like, or you're like close like guy friend and you can be, watching a movie, whatever. But why are you like watching a movie with somebody of the opposite sex who's just your friend? I feel like that's just like putting you again in like situations where you're creating like situations where like, you can kind of develop like, I don't know, like your relationship kind of goes to the next level. Like, even think about your like best friends. Like, how have you guys become such close friends? Because you've been in like situations where like you've gotten to connect with each other like one-on-one. I don't know. That's right.
No, because I think it's also like it's an intimate situation.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's intimacy, right? That you're developing with the other person. Like, you're in a close setting and hey, like watch a movie. I feel like, yeah, right? Like, come on. Hey, that's so hey yo. You know what I mean? I don't know. What do you think about it?
I don't know.
I feel like there's like a sense of like,
Well,
like,
no, it's just something I feel like I've been pondering recently because I feel like there's a certain situation that I've experienced recently that I don't know. I think I agree with you guys. I don't know if you cannot develop. I think emotional intimacy is almost more powerful than physical intimacy. And I don't think a lot of people appreciate that at our age. But it's just like, when it comes to a relationship, is that other person willing to make that step of like, oh, like, I want to be in a relationship. I think relationships are built, like, as one of you said, like, and if they don't want to build it, but you are developing feelings for someone, it's like, do you just stop hanging out with them? But it's like, oh, I really like your vibe, but like, it's hard. Like, it's like you don't want to lose them with a friend, but I don't know what the answer is. But I do think, going back to our conversation on standards, I feel like you have to really, really protect yourself. And I think that's something that I'm like learning now.
Yeah, and I mean, to your point also on like the idea of like, okay, you have a friend and you don't want to break out the relationship, but you're starting to like catch feelings for them. Or like, I think that's why relationships are tough. I think that's why they're not like, it's not supposed to be like an easy cruise / coast. Like, you got to put energy and commitment and time into it. And for me, like, that is like that's the prioritization pyramid right there. Like,
Exactly.
Like, my person that I'm with is so important to me that I won't allow myself to continue to be friends with this person and risk my feelings shifting, transitioning, or being corrupted by like what I'm feeling for this other person. And because you're human, like human beings can't control their innate nature.
Exactly.
But what you can do is set boundaries in place that prevent you from acting on that. Oh my goodness! Oh, like, here we go. Yeah, like, damn, like, what in the world? Like, that just came out of nowhere, bro. I've been reading the books. You see the bookshelf?
I know.
Yeah, bro. Thank you. It's stacked up, man. Gosh, all right. Damn.
Oh my god.
Gosh, I need a glass of water after that, man. But you have some stuff that you want to talk about, I know for sure. Do you want to bring out some of your materials? You came prepared.
So I did come very prepared.
Very prepared. Why don't you show the audience the
So
book?
I have a couple of books here. So
not a sponsorship, by the way.
Not a sponsorship. No. So the first book that I read this last week it's called Mind Power, and it's about the power of positive thinking, manifestation, and affirmations. And I think like nowadays, like especially with social media, I think we have like a huge negativity bias, and I think we tend to think the worst in people. But like, I don't know. I feel like if you believe that people are loving, you'll see that. Like, if you believe people are good, you'll see that. If you believe people are like terrible, like that, you're gonna reap what you sow. And I think as we talk about like, oh, what do men think of, or what do women do, and I think like what's the most important thing is that you be the most authentic version of yourself. And we see these things all the time, but like what this talks about a lot is like you got to practice that every day. Like, you got to wake up and be like, yo, am I being the person that I would want to be in a relationship with? And like then you can look back and be like, if there was no one like at that time, like I don't regret anything because I did everything that everything right on my end. And I really firmly believe that if you keep being the best version of yourself, something perfect is going to come along. I have that.
You
Like,
believe
I
that,
really,
sister.
really
Come on.
believe that. Like,
That's the faith.
especially when I look at like my family, like I'm like, wow, we went through so much. And yeah. And then this other book that I read is called Attached, and it talks about, you probably heard about like the 4 different attachment styles. It's like secure, anxious, avoidant, and dismissive. And when we talk about things like, oh, like, do we wait to text back like right away, or should I put on read receipts, or which, like, I really believe that all boils down to like your attachment style. Like, are you anxious? Like, are you always chasing them? Are you always like, oh my gosh, what are they doing? Are you checking their location? If you're avoidant, you're probably like, you get the ick really often. Like, and I don't know, like, I'm really trying to consider how this applies in my life, and I feel like I'm mostly secure. I feel like I have some anxious tendencies, but I feel like I'm mostly secure. And like, I think we're all a work in progress at the end of the day. And like, I don't know what the answer is. I'm just here and vibing. I don't know. What do you guys think about all this?
No, this is great stuff. Thank you for introducing such, credible material. That is very, very intriguing. I feel like I talked a lot. Does anybody want to just jump in there first?
I like that first book. What was it called?
Mind Power.
Yeah, how you view everything
Yeah.
and how you think about. Wow, no, I think that makes a lot of sense, because if you think that, if you think that people are like innately good, innately great people, I really like that, and how that like transfers into like what you put out to the world like will come back to you, and vice versa, that type of thing. I thought that was really cool.
And it's like only a matter of time, right?
Yeah.
Like, look, life is random at the same time, right? I think about it. It's also helpful to think about life sometimes mathematically, because as a law of numbers, like, you can't control certain things, right? Like, everybody's gonna have a crappy relationship at some point. Everybody's gonna go through something that's just like, damn, I did everything I could, and it wasn't enough. Right. And that's just because life is the way
But that means something better is around the corner. Like,
Absolutely.
honestly, after my breakup happened last year, like, I was not like doing well, like, for like a few weeks. But like, after that, I started meeting like the amount of people that I've met in the last year. I really believe I'm finding my new best friend every weekend. Like, and if I was still in that relationship, like, there were so many, like, when we first started work, I didn't go to a lot of like work stuff.
I remember,
we're getting into my relationship. I was moving to New York. And I'm like, damn, like, how many people did I not meet during that time? Like, I really love like my life. Like I love it so much. And like,
that's
I don't
amazing.
know.
No, good for you, man. That's
like,
good. Like,
I feel like we all go through low. Like, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, like it like sometimes I'm like lonely, like one day here and there. But like overall, I'm like, damn, like I really, really love where I'm at. And that's all you can really do. Just be grateful.
Hey guys, well, Lily's single, so shoot your shot in the comments. Yeah, I can make a connection. No, but that's great. No, that's great that you're thriving, and that's something that people really need to like just be aware of. Like, life is like not always gonna be straightforward, right? I feel like there's gonna be periods that suck, and then you just gotta like learn from it, and then keep pushing forward, and allow time to do its course as you're working on yourself. Yeah. And that's why you need to develop patience. Because it may take a while, but trust me, like, when you find that right person, it's gonna click, bro. It's gonna be so good, like, so feel right, everything, you feel comfortable, like, you just want to progress with them in life, and it's gonna be great. So that's just like, some hope, just to simmer,
Hope to the single girlies here.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on like, attachment? Attachment was an interesting one. Anybody have any thoughts on that? Because like, I feel like a lot of people, deal with that, right? The anxiety, the insecurity of like not fully trusting. Do you think attachment is actually just like a result, not really fully trusting your partner, right? Or do you not trust yourself?
Yeah.
And so you may expect, why wouldn't that other person do that same thing? So you gotta check out for them, right? And that's like a whole other thing. I'll eat right now. Anybody feeling like that?
Yeah, no, I think you're gonna, like you said, you're gonna think someone's gonna act like probably how you would act. Like, you're gonna put yourself in their shoes. So
what are the things you could do if you were
like,
right?
Oh, they're out till like 1 a.m. Like, if I was out till 1 a.m., what would I be doing? If I don't think I would be doing something like, what my partner will respect, then I'm gonna think my partner's, doing something that I wouldn't respect. I think if you're worried about that type of thing, maybe you gotta look at yourself in the mirror when it comes to that part of it. Or
even the things that you could think about doing, even if you but the things that are tempting you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No, the other person, maybe you think they're weaker. Anyway, sorry, keep going.
No, that's a good point. Like, if I'm tempted to do this, then I'm gonna think my partner's tempted to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a good point too. But Yeah, I think if you're checking somebody's location all the time, or if you're like going to your phone all the time too, maybe it's just goes back to how you were like raised, or like maybe you have trust issues. Because then it could just be a totally different thing. It could just be, you know, I was raised a certain way. You know, I don't trust, like, just based on like, you know, how my family was, or how like I was, you know, how I grew up. I'm like, I might not trust people as much or as easily. Like maybe I was betrayed by my parents, or like by a sibling or a cousin or a friend.
Yeah.
And now that's manifesting itself in my relationships to where I think that other person's going to do that same thing to me. And so in that situation, it's like maybe the person needs, you know, therapy, or to like break down what happened initially. Because I think that's also something that's very important. Understanding what makes a person them, and like understanding like, you know, why does my partner act a certain way? It's because growing up,
this is huge.
You know, because growing up, you know, they had to deal with this, or you know, there was just like, you know, something happened to them when they were very young and it just traumatized them. They never talked about it.
Yeah.
And then like it's funny because when you're talking to your friends, like this is the same thing that comes up, and like, you know, you have like your heart, and then, you know, someone's crying, blah blah blah. But it's very important in a relationship, I think, to like understand what really makes them tick, because then you're gonna run into these situations, and then the relationship's not gonna be able to grow. So
It's powerful. Yeah.
No, it's because like that's especially, you know, that all boils down to perspective. You know, like when you can understand where somebody else is coming from, it really helps you to empathize.
yes,
With why they're doing what they're doing, and not just to make a certain conclusion or have a strong emotional reaction to what they do. Honestly, that is probably the number one thing that I learned being married at the age of 23, and having been with my wife for about 4 or 5 years now. Is it took me a long time, this happened over time, where I was like, I just started learning things about her like every other month or something like that. It's like, oh, that's why she does that. Oh, that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so for example, very simple, right? Like whenever she wakes up, like, I don't know, like maybe she just like pissed a chance to get up or something, or like, but like sometimes I feel like she's just like a little like angry, or like I'm not like in a good mood, and sometimes I'll be like, I get up early in the morning, I'm trying to grind on like some business or something like that, and like, you know, I'm like so excited that she's gonna get up, and she's like, what do you want? And I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, wow, I'm so excited to see you, you know, my feelings are hurt, but then I realized, it's like the 100th time this has happened. This is probably just like, you know, a quirk of hers. Like maybe she's just, when she gets up, she's just a little groggy. Like, why am I upset about that?
Don't take it personally.
Like, that's so natural for a person to be like. So it's like, once you just begin to like accept those things, and make allowances for the other person, like the Bible would say, like just make allowances for other people, right? It helps you to not be so angry. And so, anger, you like the number one thing to make a relationship work, bro. Like you really got to control that emotional part of you to just like have negative stimulus, like, or like reacting negatively to stimulus. Like just at any point in time you can try to be as calm as possible in such a situation, because trust that anger festers and it builds, and it just makes it so much worse. You're not gonna get anything done.
So if you don't talk about, you know, whatever is bothering you at the time too.
Yeah, exactly. Just blowing it up, and then you bring it up on a random Tuesday morning, like, dude, like this is like a big time to do that. Yeah.
Any thoughts?
On emotional attachment styles?
Yeah.
I don't know if I have any opinions per se. Like I definitely heard about those attachment styles before, and I think that there's merit to them. I always think it's interesting. I wonder if people's attachment styles do change depending on the person they're with. I feel like that is very possible.
Yeah.
What would you say yours is on a regular basis?
I don't even know what mine is. I haven't really thought too deeply into it. Yeah.
When you did in the past, have you ever felt the urge and need to like want to know where they're at all the time, or check their phone, or like, you know, make sure that they're not hanging out with some other person?
And I think it's because, like, in my personal experience, to what I've, at least to my knowledge, I don't think that I've ever been cheated on. So I think because of that, when I enter into like the next relationship, I don't think that I'm not going in with that like bias, or like this person like can cheat on me, or like the person's going to cheat. I don't have that, but I can see someone else who has been cheated on, maybe multiple times, doing those practices. So
that's a good point, right? Now that goes to the personal trust issues that you have. And, you can't blame that person, man. Humans are just humans. Like when you get hurt like that, that's toll on your mind.
It's also like not about you. Like that's a like
Right.
Beyonce got cheated on, like Emily Ratajkowski got cheated on, all these beautiful supermodels, incredibly talented
Right.
professionals.
Word.
It's not
That
about
part.
you, it's about the other person, and I honestly feel bad for them. I'm like, and it's not my job. I'm not a therapist. That's also something I've learned in relationships. It's not my job.
Okay.
It's not my
Talk
job
about
to
it.
heal you. It's not my
talk
job
about it.
to, unless we are in a committed relationship where we have like if not like marriage, but like whatever, we're committed, like monogamous relationship.
Yeah.
It's not my job, even as a friend, to like heal you. Like that's on you. And like until then, like I can't be, or girls or whatever guys can't be collateral damage to
For
what
sure.
your past. Like, you can empathize with someone and be there for someone, but you don't have to be like their like therapist or whatever. And I think that that's like something that
You didn't sign up for that. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
exactly.
Like it's also like you gotta come into a relationship prepared, and like that's why people need to work on themselves before they just fling themselves.
Absolutely.
Right, because you can't. It's not fair for you to come in emotionally attach yourself to someone and inflict all that pain on them. Yeah, I mean, you may be a good person, but like it's okay to not be ready for a relationship.
Yes.
It's okay to need to work on yourself.
Would you guys stay in a relationship if you were cheated on?
No. Interesting.
Absolutely not. That's like, because then what else are you lying in my life about? Like our finances, like what are you doing like with all the other important things in our life? Like it goes a lot deeper than the physical connection, I think. I think that guys like can think about sex in a more detached, no, I don't know.
No, but
I don't
then it's
know.
like, dude, another guy, someone like
No, agreed. I think guys
You know what I mean?
think
Like-
guys think that they think that sex can be detached, but I'm like, no, like I don't believe that.
That's embarrassing.
It's yeah, like I absolutely not.
Yeah, I wonder. As much as I always like to, as much as I would think that I'm gonna say no, I always see other people who have gone through it, and it's like some people are just somehow able to get over it, and somehow people are not able to detach away from it. So I empathize with that a little bit, because it's like, unless, like, it really depends on situation. Like, you're really close to that. Like, depending on how really close you are to that person, and obviously the circumstance, and there's not a lot of circumstances where it was ever justified ever. In fact, I don't think there is at all. But like, there's definitely circumstances that are worse than others, and some circumstances that may be possible to actually grow from, or that can even make the relationship better. Not gonna lie, like better than what it was before. So, I always bring in that, because this question is asked almost every single podcast.
Really?
That's one of the questions that's all. It's all. Yeah, thank you for naming the classic, because people always have different things to say about it. No, we need it, because it's like someone needs like no, like being the goated one. So like basically like that, and people always talk about that, and it's like there's always a different perspective on it. But that's interesting. Yeah. What do you think about it? What's your answer?
I think that I'm like you. I would like to say no, but I think, again, because I haven't been in that situation, I just don't really know. I think it is probably one of the most horrible things you can have to experience, and I don't advise anybody's had to go through that. So yeah, I think it's complicated, but you kind of like, I would like to think I would say no, but you do look at these, even like marriages, couples who've been together for 40 plus years, think about, I'm sure if it's not, deceit of like stepping outside of the relationship, I'm sure there's been other deceitful things that have happened, and they found a way to kind of stick and make it work for that period of time. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I think now, like our age, like it's like I wouldn't stay in a relationship. Like it's like you just broke all the trust. It's like I trust you now, I'm gonna trust you like 20 years down the line, 30 years down the line, we're married for all this time. But like if you're like in a marriage and like you've got children involved, or it's like like it's a longer term thing, it's kind of different. I feel like it's kind of different, because then you'll like you can mess up the whole family, and then like you just throw away all that time over like a stupid mistake. So I feel like that situation is different, but like now, like I wouldn't.
But now you have are you saying you have the flexibility to get out of that pain now?
Yeah, like if I know I can't trust you now, like then it's clipped. Like there's no reason. It's up. Like I'm sorry. Last minute pieces of wisdom. Yeah, I think something is like if you don't like the situation you're in, like you should get out of it. Like if you don't like the relationship you're in, you don't like the energy that you're receiving. Like if you're just not feeling it, like that's just your body telling you like this isn't something for me, you know? Like this is something that where there's something better on the other side. Like I wouldn't recommend anybody staying in relationships where like they're getting like abused, like or you know, mentally, like physically, emotionally, like that's those situations.
Absolutely.
I don't think that that's something that someone should stay in. I feel like it's very hard for some people. But like if you're in that situation, like this is me telling you that, you know, it's okay to let go. And it might be hard at first, but you shouldn't put yourself in that situation. You don't deserve that. And then like your future partners, because it's not gonna end well. Your future partners don't deserve you know, that baggage or, you know, just that feeling, like that bad part, that bad side of you, that experience, like no one deserves that. So that's all I'd say there.
Well, how do you recommend to people that are going through that to get out? Sometimes like a little easier said than done for most people.
Yeah.
You have any practical advice for how to like?
I wish I was
good situation.
I wish like I was a therapist or like, you know, Superman. But I'd say like, you know, lean on your people, lean on your close friends, your family. I think a lot of like relationships pull you away from the people you're closest to, and then you feel like so committed to that relationship, and so you don't get to experience.
Right.
I think you even mentioned it. Like you don't get to experience everything that, you know, the rest of the world has to offer, like friendships and all this and that. Yeah. Like you need to have that. You need to have, you know, those relationships outside of your, you know, relationship with your person, just so that if you and that person were to separate, the whole world doesn't come falling apart.
Right. Yeah.
So, you know, just lean on those people.
Right. Very good point.
So
that's all right.
That's powerful.
Great. That's good. Please, if you're a good person, if you define that you are a good person in your own heart, you know, that cares about other people, you should press that subscribe button. You should also like the page. It helps me grow. You know, and helping other people grow is what we're all about, right, guys? It's really that's what good people do. They help other people get better. So press the like button, subscribe, and also press the notification so you can you know, get in tune whenever this is going to be dropping. Also, we have a special episode that's going to be releasing once we have 1,000 subscribers. 1,000 subs, we got a special episode coming. I'm not going to say what it is yet. When we get to 500 subs, that's when I'm going to drop what it is, but it should be pretty interesting.